The Weir in St. Catherine's Park is a beautiful structure. Still working to this day, it is enjoyed by the general public who come to visit here, myself included. And there's people that go there for canoeing. In this video, I'd like to show some of the structure that remains in plain sight. If you go back to these old maps from the 1700s, we can see that this part of St. Catherine's Park that runs along the Liffey all the way up to Lucan was known as the Bleach Yard. A massive investment of labour, man hours and materials was put into the making of this Weir mill race and mill. And if you look at the old maps, we're going to try and look through different maps from different times that show details. Starting here with this one, we can see the Weir where it was built, and you can see where the water is deflected to run down towards the constructed mill race, which branches off into two lanes and runs off down towards what would be eventually a quarry. When the waters are low enough in the Liffey, the superstructure of the Weir is exposed. You can see the phenomenal amount of work that went into its construction. Today, of course, the Weir is not used for its original intention, but you can still see the walls that deflected the water towards the two lanes of the mill race. These are seen clearly still today. This illustration shows where the mill race ran, and we'll follow it down this way. Although dry today, it will give you an idea of how it once looked. This is footage of another mill race still existing further on down the Liffey, and gives a good idea of what this one would have once looked like. As a reference point, I mark Lucan House here, now the Italian embassy. You can see where the two mill races came to an end to join as one. There was a lodge of some description, a quarry, to me what looked like a dock for boats, maybe for the quarry, and a bridge. If you go to this actual area in St. Catherine's Park, you can still see evidence of where the bridge once was. It's right where you see the two mill races come to an end. There's fences, and where the mill race continued on as one has been completely filled in. You can still see stonework buried in the ground, just protruding. And if you make your way around Looking where the two mill races come in to join as one, you can still see some channels that still exist that made their way towards the Liffey, and even some small bridges if you look in this area just ahead. Some structures can still be seen, gateways for channeling water. Different maps through time show different structures that were built here. Using Lucan House still as a reference point, you can see back to this part here in Catherine's Wood on the modern day map of where the bridge would have been, where the woods end now, and where the mill race is actually filled in. This can be seen on Google Maps, and if you follow this line, you can clearly be seen a row of trees that ran along the mill race, which still exists to this day. As I stated earlier, the single lane mill race was filled in, and this area here was planted with new trees. I filmed some footage here earlier in the year. You can see there's no leaves, but it gives an indication of where the mill race continued on. As we continue on, we pass along this area that people may know as Bleach Green. We can see the row of trees where the mill race would have continued on down. It may be interesting to note a pump house here marked in a more recent map. Unrelated to the original Weir, I think this may have been for pumping water up into the fields, but I'm not sure. But nature has taken it back with a tree that appears to be just set upon what used to be the base of the pump house. As we approach the cast iron bridge, we'll veer off this hard to see channel to the left. We are now at this location on the map, and here you can see the cast iron bridge still existing to this day. And here where the mill race would have ran. And here finally we come to the end of the mill race where the mill once set. You can find old paintings and some drawings that include the old mill itself, like this one. This bridge washed away many years ago, but part of it still remains, like here in this picture, as does the base foundation of the mill, which I was lucky enough to be given permission to go and film, and here it is now to share with you. At ground level and from up above, you can still see the foundations of the mill. The owner told me of them recalling the mill race being filled in and how it used to still fill with water, and they made it safe by filling it in. But here you get an idea of where it would have continued around. The name given to the area was the Bleach Yard. I'm unaware if this was a yard for bleaching of linen, but I'm sure a historian could fill in the gaps on who owned the place and what its original use was for. But for me, I just wanted to document the bit of history that was left in plain sight. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks very much for watching.